persuasive toolbox. By using examples, narrative, storytelling, citing sources from those who are of repute, which we call them opinion leaders. They don't have to always be somebody that's based at the top of an organization or that, everybody recognizes. We don't have to always use a quote from, Bill Gates or something if we're talking about, the computer industry and the way that it's had an impact, or software. But certainly citing sources that are capable of influencing others' decisions, attitudes, and behaviors helps us a lot, because if the audience trusts the sources that we use, they'll trust us for using them. Order effects are the way that we craft our arguments and the order we use our main points in. So when you're crafting your flow of these arguments, it definitely helps to have them in an order, again, that makes logical sense. So there are three, the climax order, the anticlimax order, and the pyramidal order. So these kind of make sense as you think about them. The climax order would be your strongest main point at the end. So your argument would kind of lead up to where you hit your audience with the main point of your argument, or the strongest point in your argument in your third main point. And then with the anticlimax order, you'd start with that, declarative biggest point of your argument right in your first main point. And then you would kind of decrease in strength from there. And with the pyramidal order, your strongest main point and the strongest part of your argument would be right in your second main point, right in the middle of your argument. So you would kind of build to it, and then you would decrease your momentum from there. So that is it. You can think of some kind of different things that might lend themselves to those types. And I would say your climax order is the most popular, because you kind of build up to where you state what you want the audience to do. And I've already mentioned that your call to action is in the end. And the two formats that I actually ask you to use in this class are problem, cause, solution, and Monroe's motivated sequence. And that is where you have a need, solution, and visualization. So problem, cause, solution is basically a climax order, because you start laying out the problem, you get into some of the causes, and then you hit the audience with the solution, which is your argument. It's presenting, this is what you need to do, this is the solution to the problem. So that is definitely a climax order. And then Monroe's motivated sequence, as an organizational pattern, kind of moves with starting with the need, going into the solution, and then ending with helping the audience visualize the solution. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, many of you have heard of this in other classes, it kind of addresses this idea that in utilizing persuasion, you need to understand that lower level needs of your audience must be satisfied before you can even address any higher level needs as motivating factors. So when you think about doing your audience analysis, you want to consider, where do their needs lie as a group, as a majority? What does your audience need, and how would you motivate them according to those needs? So the first, or base level, is access to air, to food, to water, sleep. And that would be the most basic. If you feel like your audience is just at that base level, you wouldn't want to motivate beyond that. So you would want to think about persuading in a topic area that would meet them in that base level of need. If you think your audience maybe is in the second area of the pyramid, as you can see behind me, then you would want to consider security needs, and those are just a little bit higher. And those relate to your audience being concerned with things like freedom from threats to a physical well-being, in addition to those base level needs. If they've gone to the third level, you could persuade them all the way up to concerns such as love, belonging, sympathy, friendship, acceptance. So you might persuade them in an area that has to do with connecting with other people and in the workplace and things like that. If you think they're all the way up to the fourth level, you're considering their own needs for self-esteem, pride, honor, duty, recognition, loyalty, competition. These are things that are very much organizational and work related, being the best that they can be in the workplace. Being efficient and productive in the workplace. That would be definitely one. If you feel like you're addressing a workplace audience that has all those first three levels easily met, but they are functioning in that fourth level, you're free to persuade in any of those first three plus that fourth. And then that highest peak level is self-actualization and fulfillment of one's potential, reaching the best self that you can be. That would be, you could go in and do any kind of persuasive presentation in an organization or in front of any audience on any of those four levels below, and then also talk about reaching your full potential in any work environment, giving any kind of presentation on any topic. So hopefully that makes sense to you with regard to addressing audiences' needs ethically and responsibly when you are seeking to persuade. Final area that I want to touch on is this idea of a one-sided versus a two-sided presentation. How do you know when to choose to address the opposing side of your argument versus being able to just go into a room and address your own side of an argument and just present the information from your own point of view? So when you have only to concern yourself with presenting a one-sided argument, it would be if you are reinforcing an existing position, as we talked about on the continuum. If you're just reinforcing an existing position, I would say that you're safe just presenting your own side, a one-sided presentation. Your listeners already agree with you, and so you are just reinforcing what they already agree. So you don't need to hit them with the other side of the argument. When you are coming in to an audience and your assumption is that there's going to be people that disagree, and you need to refute and or change attitudes in your audience, I think it's best to do a two-sided presentation. You want to make sure that you're presenting with the weight of evidence on your side. You've done your homework. You your assumption is that they may initially disagree with you, so you have to have your ducks in a row and have done your homework. There may be a situation where they will be exposed to the opposition's argument. Maybe you're doing a point-counterpoint presentation where someone will be presenting the same topic but the opposing views. So you need to make sure that you have a good, solid, persuasive argument. And in this case, you can assume your audience is an educated audience that is capable of fact-checking and knows how to consider the information they're getting if you are trying to present them with information that's not sound and well-researched. So that's the end of informative and persuasive speaking. These are just the highlights of the areas that I feel are most important for you to consider. So again, I'm excited to see your topics. I'm excited to see what you put together with these persuasive presentations, and we will have some fun when we start getting these recorded and up for the class to peer review. Take care and have a great week.